Hi there! In this video I'll show you how to create a program in EV3 Lab app for Mindstorms EV3 for one of the robots designed by RoboCamp. Now the robot I've chosen for today is Forklift. In a moment you'll see how it works like and how to create this program step by step. Now this video will also give you an opportunity to see how programming in EV3 Lab looks like in practice and how it works like on laptops and on tablets, because today I will be actually using a tablet. Now, if you would like to see more content like this, don't forget to leave us a thumbs up. And if you would like to know how the rest of the lesson for the forklift robot looks like, head to our website where you can purchase all those instructions. Now, for more info, just check the description of this video below. And without further ado, let's begin. Programming in EV3 Lab is done by connecting various code blocks together and adjusting them individually, adjusting their modes, inputs, outputs to meet your needs in the program. Now today for the forklift, I'll be using a Samsung tablet right here, which you can see right here in the bottom right corner of your screen. So you'll see everything I do here. Behind me, you can see the instructions. And one thing you may have already noticed is that instructions look differently than what you can see on my tablet. That is because the instructions are made for the PC or laptop version of EV3 Lab. Now you remember the task that I've shown you before, what the forklift is supposed to do? Okay, so first the forklift needs to approach this pallet right here. And for movement we need to use motor blocks. In this case, we will use the move steering block. This block allows us to control two motors at the same time. Okay, so we can decide, and this is usually used for robot movement. Okay, so whether we want to go straight, back, turn right or left, this is a good block to do it. And as you noticed, it not only activates the motor, but allows us to decide in what direction and how fast the robot should move. So let's add this block to the program. It's right here, move steering. Okay, I will move it to my programming area on the tablet. Okay, now we need to adjust this option here. Now, right now I have on for rotations. I need to change it to just on. Okay. And as you can see, the parameters available have changed. It just needs to go straight, but slightly more slowly. We don't want this forklift to be health hazard, okay? So instead of 50, let's decrease it to 20. Now with this block, the forklift is bound to move forward, but we don't want it to move forward forever. Rather, we just want it to approach this pallet and then stop right in front of it. But how do we detect this event? Well, there's a block that can help us with that. It is called the wait block. Now it will pause the script until a certain condition, a certain event happens or a certain condition is met. Now we need to define this condition in this block. And since we already know that right here in front we have the ultrasonic sensor, okay, we know we can use this to detect whether the pallet is right in front of the robot. Okay, so first let's go to the flow control category and find the wait block. Okay, it's right here. I will add it to my script. And now I need to adjust the mode for this block. Once again, we need to find ultrasonic sensor, compare, and I'm a metric girl myself, so I will select distance centimeters. Okay, now 50 is certainly too much, so instead of 50 centimeters, we will change it to just 3. Okay, this way the pallet will be very, very close to the sensors and surely on top of the forks. Okay, and what should happen once this condition is met? You already know. The motors, those two large motors in the back, should stop, thus making the entire forklift stop too. And for this, we will once again use move steering block, which allows us to control 2 large motors at the same time. Okay, so let's return to this green category, okay, and find move steering block. It's right here, okay. And notice that once again the ports must remain the same. Now for me, both of those motors are connected to B and C ports, so I don't need to change anything right here. But remember that if your motors are connected to different ports, you also need to change them in this block. Okay, now I need to change the mode, so of course I will just turn those 2 motors off. So far we have programmed the movement forward and detection of the pallet in front of the forklift, then stop of the motors. What should happen next? We want the forklift to move the pallet to another location, which means that now it's time to make use of the medium motor connected to the fork mechanism, which means that this time we need to use another motor block, medium motor of course. Now to make sure it is lifting the pallet at the right height, we need to change its mode to on 4 degrees. So first let's find the medium motor block, add it to the script. Okay, I will move it slightly so that you can see it better. Okay, now we need to change it to on 4 degrees. Okay. Now, of course, changing only that is not enough. We still need to adjust the parameters inside this block, mainly how fast and for how long this medium motor should work. Now we will decrease the power of this motor because we don't want to damage the goods by moving them up too fast, and we will set degrees to 1200, which should raise this fork to the position we want it to be. Okay, so let's change the power to 35. It's quite difficult for me to use this slider, so I will just change it to the numerical input. 35, okay, and it should rotate for 1200 degrees. Okay, so now the pallet is up right here more or less, and what should happen next, do you remember? Again, this time the forklift should move the pallet to another location, and the movement for this robot is controlled by 2 large motors in the back. So you can expect once again that we will use the move steering block. However, this time the parameters will be different. Nonetheless, let's find the move steering block, okay, and adjust it to turn left. Okay. Now remember that I don't need to change the ports in the blocks because by default my medium motor is in the A port and a large motors are in B and C ports. Okay, you can see it right here. But if your motors are connected to different ports, don't forget to include that. Okay, so now we have the move steering block. Okay. And I still need to change it to turn left because you can see right here that this move steering block would just make this robot go straight ahead. We don't want this. Okay, so I will open this right here and make it turn left, which means basically minus 100 for this block. Okay, is there something else we need to change in this block? Yes, once again, we don't want this movement to be too fast because since this robot is carrying this very fragile pallet, it could damage it if it were moving too fast. So we need to change the power of the motor to 20. Now, right here you can see in the instructions that we have minus 20, but don't worry, it does not mean that the power is dropping below zero. No, in EV3 Lab, this means that the motor is rotating, turning in the other direction, but still with power level 20. Okay, so let's change this to minus 20. You can see that this is the way it is turning right now. Okay, minus. No, it's very difficult to, oh yes, I managed to do this. It's quite difficult to operate this slider on a tablet, okay? And right here we still need to decide for how long this forklift should be turning. Okay, so in this case, let's make it not even an entire rotation, but less than a half. That is 0.4 rotations. The forklift has already moved to another place, but the forks are still in the air, and the robot is supposed to leave the pallet on the ground in another place, which means that now it's time to again activate the medium motor, responsible for this mechanism controlling the forks. Okay. Now, as you can see here, in the PC and laptop version, it's possible to duplicate the copy blocks that were already created. And on tablets, we can do this too, although slightly differently. So instead of adding a new medium motor block, let's just copy the one that we have already used and modify it then. So on a tablet, to copy a block in your script, you just need to press twice, actually click on it twice, then select copy. Sorry. Okay. And once you have copied the block, it will not appear automatically, but rather you need to paste it. Okay, now it's right here, so let's connect it to the remaining part of the script. Okay, and we still need to adjust it. Okay, this block would move exactly the same way as the previous medium motor, but we want it to move in the other direction. So basically the only thing we need to change in this new block is this power right here. Instead of 35, let's make it minus 35. Now, as I've already mentioned, minuses in motor blocks mean that the motor is turning in one or other way. This is not some sort of power below zero thing, no. Okay, let's go back to our program. Now the pallet is once again on the ground, okay, but in another place. So what should the forklift do then? it should just retreat, thus leaving the pallet in its new resting place. So once again, we will use move steering block. Now you can see that this time the forklift will be moving in a straight line, but backwards, okay? So the only parameter that we need to change here is once again the motor power. But first, let's find the move steering block and add it to the program. Okay, and now I need to change the power of this motor from 50 to -20. Okay. Okay, everyone, now with a program like this, we can test this robot. We can see how it performs in reality, because this program should make the robot, well, perform the entire task. That is, first approach the pallet, lift it up, move to another place, leave it down, and retreat. Okay, now let's try to connect the brick to the programming app to see how this program and robot work in practice. To test a program with the robot on EV3 Lab, you need to connect the EV3 brick to your programming app. Mine is already connected, and this is well visible because you can see the readings from the sensor in the bottom right corner of my tablet right here. Okay, so let's test this program out. Now I hope you remember the task that this robot is supposed to perform. It should approach the pallet, lift it up, move to another position, lower the pallet down, then move backwards. Task done. Let's see if this is really what happens. I will activate the program now. Okay, the motors are moving forward, so this is a good news, but as you could see, something happened there with the sensor. It's almost as if the sensor did not detect that the pallet was right in front of it. Well, to be honest, this might not be really the fault of the program, but rather my sensor. All the parts, all the elements that I'm using already have some, well, a couple of years at least, which means they may not be as sharp in their readings as there used to be. So I will try this again, but if it doesn't work, this means that I need to adjust my program. Again, it does not detect the pallet, so maybe I need to adjust how soon it should detect it. Okay, so now I will make a small adjustment right here in the weight block. Instead of 3 centimeters, I will change it to 4. And see whether that works. Works better. Okay, so I will move it once again here. Okay, and run the program again. Okay, this task was performed almost perfectly, if only the robot hadn't dropped the pallet. Now, the reading from the sensor is correct for me. Remember, you may not need to adjust this program at all. But there's one more thing I need to adjust. That is how fast the forklift is turning when it is carrying this pallet. This means that I need to slow down a bit. Okay, so let's find this right here. Right now the speed is 20. Let's change it to 10. Okay, and let's see if now the robot manages to deliver this pallet undamaged. Okay, everyone, my robot and my program works. Let me show this to you also on the big screen so that you can see exactly how this robot moves, okay? All right, everything works. This time, the robot managed to perform this task perfectly. What's more, we have managed to create a complete program for the forklift from RoboCamp in EV3 Lab. Now, if you are programming with me, make sure to test your program to adjust it if you need to, okay? And let us know how your robot performed. For more instructions, for more full robotics lesson like this one, head to robocamp.eu. All the links you need are in the description down below. And if you like programming with us, if you like programming robots, leave us a thumbs up. This will let us know that you want more content like this. Okay, thank you once again, everyone. And remember, learning is great, but it is even more important to have fun. Thank you again, and see you in the next video.